Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So I think it's gonna be only us. So, well, there is nothing structured actually. So I didn't prepare any PPT or anything because it's being an open space. We will more listen to your question and try to answer to it. So if you have anything in particular to start to ask for, you can simply start with the first question. Otherwise, I can give you an overview of the current status of the area, and then we can simply start from there on. So just tell me what you prefer.
I personally, I think a current overview of the status of the area would be pretty good.
Okay, cool. Okay, so very quickly, so oGCDP is the driver of ISAC in Italy. So historically speaking, it's on us to actually drive and make the entity sustainable. As you might know, we only have 3 exchanges since we shut down IGAP at the beginning of our term, actually. So at the end of the term 14-15, due to some legal reason. So right now we have 2 programs of OGX, so OGIP and oGCDP, and 1 program of iGCDP. For you to know, this is the 2nd year that ISAC in Italy actually has OGX splitted. So until 2 years ago, actually, so this is the 2nd MCVP OGIP that we have, because back to 2 MC term, we had the MCVP OGX, and back then the focus of OGX was actually oGCDP, which is the reason why the program grew so much in the last years, and then in the last 2 years actually had it's one of the reasons why we had kind of a drop in the last 2 years. So currently the program is not growing for 2 years in a row now. We had a growth in December. That was the first time we actually grew in the program overall. So as for the entity situation, we have 19 local committees and 2 expansion. Expansions are focusing only on oGCDP and on global leaders, so also in trying to create membership, but the only exchange they perform is oGCDP. Actually, this part of the program is taken care by the OD director responsible for expansion, so it's not under my duty to actually take care of that. As for the 19 LCs, we are the one that actually has I think the highest number of LCVP, because 18 out of 19 LCs actually has the oGCDP responsible. So this is good because it helps me at least to have a good way to work with them, and it's better to have 1 responsible. Actually, no, they are 17. Sorry, because 1 VP decided to not start the term, so she was elected, but then she decided to just dismiss the time. Currently speaking, for this 2nd part of the term, we are focusing on actually try to cover the drop of the first, the gap actually of realization that we had in the first 6 months. So we are working based on overachievement peaks. So the fact that in the next 6 months, we're going to try to focus on months like March and April and June, which are historically our peaks as realization, in order to actually cover the gap of realization that we left in the first 6 months of our term. As for the general timeline, summer peak is our biggest peak of all. It's really 50% of the goal of oGCDP. It's performed during the Q2 and Q3 realization, mainly starting from the end of May, beginning of June, more or less. So the month in which we perform the most is normally July, followed by June and August. Then September is definitely lower. Q4 instead is a peak in which we never perform, not that much, not in a way we can actually call performance, in the sense that there are some realization here and there, but nothing structured. It was never a focus, honestly, and it never actually gave us results. And as for Q2 instead, we have another good peak in March normally, because of due to the university timeline. But then again, April also, it's quite kind of a peak, but then again not very huge. And then May we completely go down. May, it's our peak for sign up. So sign up and approval normally happen. The highest number happens in May, definitely. And this is for the general timeline of the entity. To go a bit in details, every LC has a very particular timeline because in Italy, universities are not following all the same. So every university actually decide on its own. Also, like in the same city, every university is responsible to decide its own timeline and to decide when to do exams and everything. Due to this, it's super, super hard actually to align all the timelines. Just to give you an example, the first LC that starts with the summer peak, it's Venice. They start performing summer peak at the beginning of May. And the last one that finish, it's Catania in Sicily, and they finish in the end of September, beginning of October. So we have this like really huge amount of month in which we actually we can call summer peak. As for the local committee situation, every local committee has at least one team leader and one team. The teams itself, they have between 2 and 5 members normally each. So every team leader has to manage at least between 2 and 5 members. So this is also very good because we have a good amount of HR resources to actually perform in a good way. Main synergy is marketing, of course. We basically live together with marketing. So oGCDP and marketing has his own brand. We are bread and Nutella. So oGCDP is the bread and marketing is the Nutella. So we branded the whole thing. We have a newsletter only for oGCDP and marketing people that we send almost every week. In order for VP marketing to have as a main focus oGCDP. This is due to the reason that, first of all, we are dropping for 2 years now, and being the driver of an entity, this is not acceptable. And second of all, for financial situation, because of course the entity is right now not in a very good financial situation. So oGCDP is the program that can help to fix this. So this is more or less it, I would say. Yeah, speaking about synergies, so marketing is our main one. Promotion is 100% under marketing, and consideration and value delivery instead are 100% under oGCDP. Current situation, like the reality is that marketing is having, for the first time now, a good amount of HR. So we are still covering at least the offline promotion in some LCs. But general direction from MC are, as soon as you can, you move all the attraction part and then marketing, and all consideration and value delivery are under oGCDP. And as for brand advocacy, is actually still a synergy point, but it's mainly performed by marketing actually. Second main synergy is of course TM. We work with TM mainly in the education of our members, of course, the empowerment of them, but also in the value delivery part. So we created together some materials for the value delivery. We aligned also on their integration seminar. This is another huge point of synergy between our two areas. And mainly we are focusing on this at MC level, but also at local level. So education and knowledge on one side, and on the other side is value delivery and reintegration seminar. And then, of course, the other synergies that are a bit like lower as a point of synergy, actually, but are still very important for our work, are the other exchangers. So OGAP and IGCDP itself. So this is more a synergy based on share information and inputs on our work, and also try to assess the strategies and this kind of stuff. So, and trying to work together as much as possible to show to the plenary that actually exchangers are and can actually work together in very different ways. So this is for the general overview. I don't know if you want more details in terms of performances, or I don't know. Let me know.
Yeah, so I guess just like generally kind of going off of that, like where do you see like some of the, I guess, like biggest bottlenecks in terms of like numbers and things like that, like the peaks and also like strategies and like processes that are going on?
Okay, one huge bottleneck is the fact that I was saying about the huge differences there are sometimes between LC and LC. So we have 19 LCs, and each of them has a very different situation. And it's super hard sometimes to find a common ground for all of them. So like for really simple things, like for the fact that we, I don't know, release the materials for the summer peak campaign in a couple of weeks. So the beginning of March, we're going to have all the materials ready. But there are some LCs that are actually already started the summer peak campaign promotion because they are going to start the realization earlier. So we are in delay for them, but we are okay for all the others. So it's very hard sometimes to actually align the needs of all the entity and to actually also create strategies that are okay for everybody. So we are trying to work also with OD more on cluster or tier strategy, because it's better actually to group some kind of LCs. So to group them based on the market, on the timeline or whatever, and work like that. So work more in home group than actually in the whole entity together. So this is definitely one bottleneck. Another bottleneck was the transition that we had between the last two generations. So transition was not very tracked from the MC side. So there was a huge loss in terms of knowledge. So we had to repeat all over again some specific things because they were not being transmitted from one generation to the other. So this year we actually ran two transition. One was performed at local level and was tracked by us through a survey to the elected, and the other one was at national level. So we actually did 4 webinars, us as MCVP functional, and in some specific topics that were particularly relevant. So these, and then the synergy with the marketing. So the fact that oGCDP is actually a very mature program right now, and we have a lot of potential to actually innovate and grow. But marketing instead, as an area itself, like pure marketing, like attraction in the very sense of the word, was actually born a couple of years ago. So until a couple of years ago, we had marketing that was taking care of PR, marketing, comm, and whatever you could put under that. And this is super hard because in terms of synergy, sometimes it's super hard to work together because the needs of the two areas are super different. Also, the fact that at a local level, at least, the VP marketing is actually responsible for all the promotion. At MC level, we have different responsible. So we have the MCVP BXP, MCVP PR, and MCVP marketing. But at local level, all these things are run by one person. And this is actually create a huge struggle for them to keep up with the thing and to be able to perform at its best sometimes, because these 6 months, so the second part of our term, are full of things happening, in generally speaking, in ISAC globally. And so it's super hard to actually focus on something and get something out of it. So I would say mainly this. Yeah. What is happening sometimes in some realities is that we are kind of stuck in some processes that are always the same. And on the other side, the oGCDP globally is evolving very fast. So the fact that the platform keep on changing all the time, the fact that the customer flow is being updated every 2 fucking weeks sometimes, this is not helping us to transmit the knowledge in the most efficient way, because every 2 weeks we have to actually update all the knowledge all over again, and this is definitely not helping for them to improve and to implement at its best all the strategies that are arriving every day. So I would say mainly this as general bottlenecks of the area itself.
So just a clarification point on the knowledge. So it's kind of like there's not really a sustainable kind of education for members. I don't know, like everything's changing constantly. There's not like really a foundation or like a base.
Yes, yes. Yes, because like we have our educational cycle is both at local and national level. So we have the regional conferences. We're gonna have one in May and the other one is normally in October, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, October, November. And this is where the MC can actually help in the education of the members. But these are the only two touch points that we actually control and we are able to assess. But then at the local level, they are really struggling to actually pass the messages that they receive from the MC. So this is a general bottleneck actually that every area and almost every entity has. So we are trying to build a knowledge hub, but again, the knowledge hub is not very easy to be built because really you have to change the materials every 2 or 3 weeks sometimes. Lately, it's been like that. So me personally, I'm trying to use kind of my NSTs to actually help me in this. So, for example, NSTIR have every 2 weeks an open space for TMP and TLP about IR and about approval in general, in order for us to be sure that knowledge actually gets until the end of like even the last member just join, he can still be able to receive these kind of messages.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else you feel like, any topics you want to throw in?
Yeah, so just to kind of get a better understanding of maybe the students, like the market, like the student market, what is typically or like do students care about? Like what is like our value proposition in like Italy? Like
Mhm.
how
Okay.
we can cater to that and
Yes. So, until last year, our main target, or at least the target that was the one that more responsive towards Isaac project, was economic students. But as you probably know, it's super hard to actually find supply for them. So projects that are actually worth it for their background. So we are focusing on languages, political science, this kind like humanistic, whatever, like this part of the market. Normally speaking, the one that responds the most are the second and third year bachelor students. So these are the ones that lives the most, definitely. The second year students most of the times also do double experience. So for example, they leave during the second year, then they leave again in the third year, which is super common actually, and is super good. Then we like the fact that OGAP is also growing very much. It's causing us some trouble in terms of target, because of course it's super hard to split some specific part of the target. So the value, like the thing that we are using right now, is the fact that OGAP is a more professional experience. So you need to have some specific skills to actually be part of the global talent project, and you're going to develop some specific and very specific skills. Global citizen on the other side is more for soft skills and personal growth. So it's about trying new experience, so getting out from the comfort zone, then growing like in a personal way, and develop soft skills. So these are the three main messages that we are trying to pass with our program right now. And yes, so PhD students normally are splitted between global talent and global citizen, of course. And one thing that is kind of helping us, and it's been a focus for us till now, actually started to be a focus from now on, is the fact that a lot of university here in Italy, they request you to do an internship. Like sometimes is highly suggested, sometimes is actually request. And Global Citizen Project fit very well in terms of timing and in terms of also of contents to the definition of internship for the university. So a lot of students actually they live with us because of the internship to get recognized by the university. Now, of course, this is not the right value proposition to transmit, so we are not promoting this, but at local level it's very, very common for them to actually recruit people that wants to live for this reason. So what we are trying to do is to actually get them a better preparation for them to, okay, you're gonna get this internship recognized, which is super good and super fine, it's okay, but you need to understand that the reason why you are living with ISAC and not with any kind of other organization is the fact that we develop leadership and blah 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 blah. So we are trying to stress more this part during the preparation, because otherwise the message that we pass is super wrong. So yes, these internship things. So now we are working a lot in university relation in order for every LC to be recognized by the university and to be able to actually say, if you live with us, you can also get the internship recognized. Generally speaking, university relation is a very important point. So we have the MCVPGIA, that is global, government, alumni, and institution. So she's the responsible for university relation, for institution, for government relations, for the alumni management and everything. And her role is actually helping us to focus a bit more on the fact that also promotion is super hard sometimes if the university doesn't recognize you. So there are a lot of universities that actually don't accept organization to promote their program if they first don't get the recognition by them. So we're trying to work on this because it's actually an issue that is not allowing us to open some specific market that can be actually super, super good for our product.
Okay, and I guess just in terms of like making sure that leadership development and lead is like given to the EP, did you say, like, I heard you say that it's incorporated in RIS, but is it also incorporated in OPS as well?
Yeah, so in terms of OPS, we actually did some change lately. So there is not an OPS in terms of one day in which you receive the preparation, but it's actually been split in three main touch points. So the local committee needs to get these three touch points through all the consideration phase in order for the EP to actually receive the information that it needs about ISEC, about leadership, about everything in the moment that he really need them, in order for us to be sure that they actually understand these kind of things and he can bring them on also during the organization. So the first touch point happen after the sign up, of course. So you get the first mail contact, you contact the EP, you tell him to come to the office, and this is where you explain him Isaac Way, global citizen purpose and value proposition and meaning and everything else. You explain the general flow and this kind of stuff, and you start promoting some opportunities. Second touch point, when the moment he apply and he get accepted, so the moment in which he needs to choose which accept and not to sign. So generally speaking, we encourage our EPs to actually apply to more than one project in order to have more opportunities between to choose. And so the moment in which he needs to choose the project, we invite him to have the second touch point in order for us to help him and mentor him and guide him through the choice itself. And this is also the touch point in which we sign the contract and we pay. So this is where the payment happens and everything. And this is also in where we explain XPP, standard satisfaction, and we start speaking about the entity in which he's interested in. So we start this entity-based preparation. And then the last touch point is more about the Make in Italy, which is a concept that we have here in Italy, and more about the entity itself. So it's a fully entity-based preparation. I suggest also during this third touch point to have the EP buddy Skype chat. So to have the Skype chat together with your EP manager and the EP buddy in order to have someone next to you that actually knows the organization better and can brief you about some things and can give you some specific question to give to the buddy in order for you to be sure that you are 100% ready. Yeah, and one thing that I forgot, in the first touch point, we set the first personal goal. So for them to understand what they clearly want to get out of this opportunity. And then in the third touch point, we do a follow-up on that. So, okay, this was your personal goal at the beginning. Is it still the same? Has it changed? If it's changed, why? And how can you keep on working on that during the realization? So this from the part of OPS/preparation for the EP. And then during the value delivery itself, we send the 6 emails, which are one per each week, of course, which are based on the cultural shock and on the LDM development itself. So together with the VPTM, we manage kind of we are actually, this is actually an experiment that we are doing for the first time. So we create these 6 emails that based on the journey that the EP is going through, they are focusing more on some specific LDM characteristic that can be more useful for him during that particular phase of the cultural shock. So every phase of the cultural shock is connected to 1 week. And so there are contents for him to be able to receive the support, and for us to ensure that he is developing these characteristics. And in case the ICX is doing some activities during the realization, which normally happens with our entity partner, but as you probably know, not always happen, these mails are also a follow-up of the activities that he does. So are in co-delivery, completely created in co-delivery with our partners. And so then in the end, the integration seminar, it's just a matter of, okay, this is where we start, this is what happened in the middle, and now it's time for us to close this experience and start with a new one, which is generally speaking the global the global citizen ambassador. So the fact that they are ambassador of our brand from now on, of course. And then, of course, there is, okay, if you want to join our local committee, if you want to live for another experience, whatever you want to do.
Cool. And I just also was wondering, so what is your like IR with like other countries, like country partners and things like that? Do you have like, what is the national projects that are going and things?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so in terms of IR, mainly 2 points to underline. So we have two NSCIR, which are divided by entity. So they are both responsible of 5 entity partners each, plus regions, 3 regions each. And they are the point of reference for the LCDP and for the entity partners to keep the communication between these two stakeholders. And the other thing is the fact that we have mainly 10 entity partners, which are our entity partners all year long. So these are the ones we've been working for the longest amount of time. So we've been partnering together at least for 2 or 3 years already. So these are the kind of the safe one, in the sense that we know that our market likes them always, and that we know what to expect from them. So these are our main one. And then due to some particular peaks, for example, now in summer peak, I'm adding new one. In the sense that, of course, we're going to have more people leaving, and then we need a more wider offer. So entity partners, like the suggestion is that nationally speaking, we set some goals with them, we do promotion of them, and these are the only 10 entities that we promote at MC level. Now, the other push at local level that I'm doing is for them to create their own entity partners. So to understand what are the needs of their market, and try to understand how they can meet them together with AIR. So to do data analysis, to understand, historically speaking, which were the main destination for them, and to start the partnership with them. The suggestion for them is always to keep it to 2 or 3 entity maximum per each LC, because otherwise, of course, it's not manageable at local level. And in case they need more, they have the national one. So national one are there as a backup plan for everybody. Generally speaking, we are realizing at least 60–70% of our goal in partnership. So cooperation are actually working very well. As for the entity partners, we have Hungary, Poland, Russia, India, Egypt, Taiwan, because we used to cooperate with China, but then we have a lot of visa issue last summer peak, and due to some government issues from China side, so we decided to switch with Taiwan, and we're gonna see how is it going to evolve this summer peak. Then we have Brazil, Colombia, Greece, and I am missing India. Serbia. Thank you, Sarah. Yes, Serbia. So these are the 10 main ones. To these, we normally add Croatia. We add Ethiopia, because we have a lot of requests of people during summer peak, actually mainly, that wants to go to Africa. So we decided to focus mainly on one entity, which is Ethiopia. We have one partner that is sponsor also to scholarship for them to go to Ethiopia. So this is it. And so we have Croatia, Ethiopia. We might start working with Austria as well. And yes, these are the main ones. And Mexico, also Mexico. Because LATAM and Europe are the main destination that our EP is looking for. So these are the main requests. So we are trying to cover in more this. Europe mainly because they not like during the off peak, mostly, they have budget problem normally, so they rather stay in Europe, go to East Europe, maybe that it's still something a bit unknown sometimes for us, and to enjoy there the experience. So LATAM and Europe are like Europe as WINA and CE are our main destination definitely. Do you have any other question, other doubts, other thing you would like to ask?
Um, I guess just kind of what a little bit more about like the membership of ISIC, like the members themselves. Like I don't know, I guess like how what is the culture like in ISIC in Italy?
Hmm. Okay. As a culture is kind of a particular one, I guess. But then in the end, I think that every entity has a particular culture. So first of all, ISAC is not a full-time activity for us. So only MC is a full-time. And this means that sometimes we request more time to our membership than the one that they can actually give us. So this has always been quite a struggle point between MC and LC because the LC they do Isaac as an extra activity, um, and this is something to be kept in consideration because of course it really affects some time of the performance. Say, just to give you an example, August is a month in which nothing happened in Isaac in Italy because everybody are on holiday. So there is literally nothing moving, which is one of the reasons why Q4 it's super hard to make it happen because actually August is the month in which you should have made Q4 happen, and but it's almost impossible for our entity. So this year we're gonna try to start working on Q4 in July, but it's pretty hard to like Q4 is always gonna be a peak, super hard to make it happen. Um, and then also the fact that, for example, in January, everybody is under exams. So again, very few things happen in the entity itself. The same for September, for example. So these kind of things are super they are characteristic of our membership. There are some specific months in which you cannot ask them to do more than a certain amount of things, and still August is literally nothing happened. This is the reason why also MC is actually in holiday in August because there's no point for us to be here and push on the plenary since nothing happened. This is one thing. The other thing is actually that even if it's an extra activity, there is a lot of commitment. Um, we did during our replan a cold calling day in which we call all our stakeholders as MC. So we call team member, team leader, LCVP, LCP, then organization, schools, EPs, and whatever. And calling the membership itself, like members, team leader, and LCVP and LCP, what was clear was the fact that they have a very huge commitment towards the organization. So the one that stays, because we actually have struggled in retention rate. So retention rate is always a point of attention for us. But the one that stays, they are very committed to the thing and everything. On the other side, there is not still a clear a clarity on the why. So Isaac Way, LDM, all these things are still pretty foggy for them. So we are really working hard for like to make them understand what is the thing that we are doing. The fact that we are doing leadership, the fact that we are doing exchanger just because for us is a tool to get to the leadership and this kind of concept. And yes, mainly this plenary is particularly young compared to the previous one. So we are working with 20 years old, like 23. If you are 23 in Isaac in Italy right now, you are old. Like I am 23, I'm gonna turn 24 this year, and I am old, considered old. All my LCVP are either 19 or 20 years old maximum. There are very few that are actually 25, 26, but everybody else is really, really, really young, which again sometimes cause some trouble in communication from our side towards them. But it's super good because they are the target that we are targeting right now with our promotion. So for them, it's super useful too. Yes, 2015 generation, but I guess this happened everywhere, was pretty beaten down from what happened. So the fact that summer peak was not the summer peak that we were expecting, so they were super beaten down. And but generation 2016 are definitely better in terms of um, commitment, but also in terms of I want to do huge things. I do not settle down. Um, so this is good because from the MC level, it's super easier to actually work with them compared to the previous generation. At least previous generation was really in the last month mainly, they were almost dead. Really couldn't start any communication at all with them. Um, but this generation is definitely more open. One thing to be careful with is the fact that they are still pretty afraid of innovation. So as an entity, we have been some time in which we were super innovative and we were actually driving the change through all the global organization. But in some other times, we did tend to settle down. The general idea about Italy, like that Italians have about Italy, is the fact that we are a small country, so we will never be role model for anybody. So we consider ourselves actually, I don't know, kind of not high quality people, not high quality country, not high quality content itself. And this is also reflected very much in ISEC. So the few moments in which we were actually innovative, we really showcase the thing and everything, but they were not enough for us to really believe. Like I think about entities of LATAM, for example. If you speak to TMPs or TLPs of LATAM, they truly believe that they are the best one, which of course they are in some fields, and they truly tell like they are super ready to innovate things and to just try out things and whatever. In Isaac in Italy Plenary, this is more hard to happen because of the fact that we never think we are good enough to actually try out new things. So every time there is a new things happening, you always have to be careful. So you have to explain the why, explain the how, and just deal to the fact that you're gonna have to explain it over and over again, at least 2 or 3 times before actually people accept it. And this was the thing that I was saying before. So the fact that knowledge is super hard to pass, the fact that we are not stable as an area right now because innovation keep on coming again. This is one of the things that makes everything fuck up. The fact that we are not very fast and ready to change things all over again repeatedly. So yes, I would say mainly this about the culture itself. MC and LC have a very good relationship right now. So 2 years ago, probably there was a very huge distance between MC and LC, but the last two MC did a very good job in that. So they are super open. There is a continually feedback from MC to LC and from LC to LC. So this is super good. The other thing is that in Italy we have some huge committees and some very small committees. And the small committees do feel like you're only taking care of the huge committees. This is the reason why they are huge. And they also have this feel like I will never be as big as they are. So don't ask me to do that. But truth is that actually right now, with the goal that we set of oGCDP this year, we are only tackling like 0.00001% of our market. So clearly is not a fact that I will never be as big as they are, because they are not big if you check on their market and everything. But there is this thing of huge LC and small LC, and MC is only focusing on huge LC, that this is the reason why they are growing. So this is another, I guess, characteristic of our plenary, definitely. This distinction between the two. Yeah.
Yeah, and is there like maybe a contact list or something that the MC has of like LC, VPs and things like that where we can?
Yes, yes, we have the address book of the entity. I can share it with you, no problem for that. You will find EBs mainly because for TMPs and TLPs we are still collecting the contacts, so I'm not sure it's gonna be actually full. But for the all EBs and MC in general, I can share it with you, no problem.
Yeah, that would be great.
Cool. Okay. Anything else you want to talk, ask, wonder?
I think I'm good for right now.
Okay, cool. Sarah, you're good as well. Any other new question? Okay, cool guys. So thank you for joining. If you need anything else from my side, just write me an email. I'll be as much available as possible. Because yes, I'm preparing an exam, but normally speaking, I don't take that much to answer to emails. So really feel free to approach me whenever you want. And good luck you both for the selection process. I hope to talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Enjoy your day.
Ciao. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.